What's poppin', gamers? Today I'm going to be doing another tutorial on Roblox, this time about NPCs, how to make them move, and how to make them uh, just work well. Now, first thing, by the way, I'm on my old map that I made in the last video. What I'm going to do is make an NPC walk over to this part and trigger the cutscene we did in the last video. So we'll kind of like, connect the creations and, it'll be cool. So that's what we're going to do. Now, first things first, what we want to do is get a NPC from the toolbox. So let's just search NPC. I swear this is not cheating. Oh, whoops, hold on. We want an R15 one, because in my opinion, R15 NPCs look nicer as they're animated. So this one works fine. I'm pretty sure this one has animations. Alright, I'm just going to place this NPC at the end of the path. Now, I see a lot of people who unname the model so that this name doesn't pop up here, but what you can do, you can name them, but then go to humanoid, and right here, display distance type, you can just set that to none and a name will not pop up. So this should be good. Now we just want to give him a human skin tone and make sure all this is unanchored. Alright, good. If you want to give him clothing, you can do that. If you want to give him a hat, you can just get a hat from the toolbox, and you can just drag it in our NPC and it'll automatically put it on his head. It's pretty cool. So now I'm not gonna waste time with putting clothing on him. You can do that on your own time. I'm just gonna get to the scripting. Let's place a quick spawn location and just test out what he looks like right now. Alright, cool. So he is animated. Now, one problem with NPCs is that you can run into them and move them around, and if you want them to walk somewhere, you'll disrupt that. So next thing we're going to do is make it so that players do not interact, they just go through the NPC. Now we could just make this can collide false, but that will make it where he falls to the ground and dies, so that wouldn't be very good. It would also make him go through objects, I think. It wouldn't be good. So we're going to have to script. In service script service, insert a normal script. We'll just call this NPC, I guess. Now, oh yeah, another thing. We want to insert a folder in workspace. And let's just call this NPCs. And we want to drag Richard in this folder. All the NPCs that you make in your game, you want to put it in this folder. Okay, gamers, now what we want to do is go in our NPC script and start scripting. Local NPCs equals workspace.npcs, the folder we put in workspace. Local PS equals game, get service, physics service. Alright, PS, create collision group. And we're going to call this collision group players group. PS, create another collision group, NPCs group. And now PS, collision group set collidable, players group, and NPCs group false. Perfect. For underscore NPC in pairs NPCs get children do. For underscore V in pairs. Been having a lot of trouble typing today. NPC get descendants do. If V is a base part, then PS set part collision group v NPCs group. Alright, perfect. We're done with that. Game.players.player added connect function player.character added connect function character wait for underscore v and pairs character get children do. If v is a base part, then ps set part collision group v players group. Alright, perfect. Now let's test this. Perfect. So now the NPC still has all of its animations and it can walk around and stuff, but we will not interact with it, and it can do whatever it wants without us interfering with it. So, perfect, that's done. Now we can get into scripting the actual NPC. Okay, now we want to script the NPC to walk down this path and hit the cutscene thing to trigger the cutscene. Very epic. First off, let's move this spawn location out of the way, as it might interfere. I could just set it can't collide false, but I'm too lazy, you know. Richard, we're going to make him, we're going to set down a part, and we're going to make it where he walks to the part. Very cool. So if we just set a part right here, just make him pass the little thing, and he'll trigger the cutscene. We'll call this walk part 1. Perfect. And we want to anchor this, can't collide false, make it transparent. Alright, and if we go into server script service, let's add a new script and just call it main. So, what we want to do is we're going to wait 5 seconds, but then we're going to get workspace.npcs.richard.humanoid move to. And then we're going to, in these parentheses, put the position of the part we just put. Walk part 1.position. And what that will do is it will move Richard to that part, and he'll pass by the cutscene and trigger it. He's walking, and triggers the cutscene. He stops at the part. So the cutscene isn't really a part of this, but you know, it's nice. So what if we want him to have multiple walk parts? Well, that's pretty simple. If we can just put this back here, let's make him, like, you know, dance around the path, you know, because he can't properly walk in a straight line, right? So we want to duplicate the walk part and just call it walk part 2. And then duplicate it again. I can go over here, walk part 3. And so on. Just keep duplicating this wherever you want your NPC to go. Just make sure you keep numbering the parts. And here we'll make him go back into the center and hit the cutscene. Walk part 5. Okay, cool. So now let's script that. So there's a thingy, a little event that you can get, which is to wait for Richard to stop. You can wait for Richard. He's going to walk to part 1, but what we need to do is we need to time it so that whenever he gets to walk part 1, he starts going to walk part 2 immediately. This will be pretty hard to time, but there's an event, workspace.npcs.richard humanoid move to finished. Wait. Basically what that will do is it will wait, if Richard is moving, it will wait for him to stop, basically. And so that way we can find out when he's reached the destination to move him to the next part, which is walk part 2. And we will just copy this again. Nice. And then we have 5 walk parts, so let's just duplicate that. Set walk part 3, walk part 4, and walk part 5, and that's basically it. Now we play, and T will go along all the walk parts that we put down. There he goes. Perfect. Now he's going diagonally, because, you know, for some reason he can't just go straight. And then he triggers the cutscene. Nice, cool. That's basically how you do NPCs. Now, one cool thing we can do, if you do not want Richard here to walk over here and hit the cutscene part, but if you don't want him to trigger the cutscene, this is kind of for the last video if anyone watched that. Basically, we can go into the cutscene part and do if hum.parent.name is not equal to Richard, then just put this in here. That will make it so that Richard does not trigger the cutscene when he walks by it. That isn't completely bulletproof, because if there is a player, the one player on Roblox that is named Richard, they will not be able to trigger the cutscene. But it will also make it so that Richard here does not trigger the cutscene. So if that's what you want, then that's how you do that. Cool. That's pretty much the end of the video. That's how you make NPCs walk and make them, you know, look nice, I guess. Oh, also the skin tone, it didn't work. I think that's because Roblox doesn't allow you to make naked characters. But it could also be that I did it wrong, I don't know. But, yeah, subscribe and, you know, give me more money.